Where would Nick Walker and Big Ramy have placed at the 2023 Mr. Olympia? We discuss it on our new show, What's the Word? What's the Word? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and today I'm joined by Jimmy Sadek, Stanimal, Stan Delonge, IFBB Pro, and Mark Galley, four-time Mr. Australia and judge as well, which I've actually just recently discovered. But guys, this is a new show as well. It's called What's the Word? We're going to be bringing 3 of these a week to the channel, so it's going to be exciting, and I'm looking forward to doing this with you guys. But let's get straight into it, and let's discuss where Big Ramy and Nick Walker might have placed at the 2023 Mr. Olympia had they competed. Stan, I'll go to you first. You were the man at the contest. Obviously, you've seen Big Ramy and Nick Walker compete before too. Where do you think, firstly, Nick Walker would have placed at the 2023 Mr. Olympia had he been able to compete and not torn his hamstring and actually calf, which he came out with in the end as well?
I think he would have pushed Samson out of that top 3. I think he would have been right there with Derek and Hadi. And it would have been very interesting to see because the updates from Nick, the few pictures we've seen, he looked insane. I mean, it's a very different back double biceps, but it's very undeniable too. So you would have to see them next to each other. Which one is more overwhelming? Which one draws your eyes more? It would make definitely Nick would definitely throw things off, and he might even change the whole balance of the show. You know, because of the dynamic of who wins each shot. I think he would, pick some shots would be his in first place, like the side chest. I believe he would get the first shot, like first place definitely. So yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, and
to see.
Mick, obviously, like Nick tends to have like less, front to back weakness and strength. I mean, some people say about his front lat spread's not the strongest, but in terms of like, Hardy's a little bit softer from a back, and then you got Derek who's a little bit softer from a front. Could you make a case for Nick winning the 2023 Olympia had he been able to compete?
For sure. Yeah, I think that's exactly the point I'm trying to make. Yeah.
Yeah. Mick, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with Stan. Like those photos that came out of Nick a few weeks out of the show, he looked insane. Like everywhere was, serrated and peeled and stuff like that. And yeah, I think he would have been in that top 3 for sure. And then it would have been great to see him compared to Derek and Hardy, where he takes poses away from him. That's as Stan said, that side chest, he wins that hands down. He's got some nasty shots, front double bi, most muscular. So I can't wait to see next year when he's back in the mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Jimmy, what do you think? Do you think Nick, well, I sort of know what you think because you told me before the show, but do you think that Nick could have or should have won the Olympia had he been able to compete?
I'm a Nick Walker fanboy, so I was texting people after prejudging. I was texting people after prejudging and just saying, like, just based on his last, 2 showings, if you average them out, and he hasn't really come in out of condition, I think he would have won. But he didn't show up on stage. But, like everyone was a little bit off. Like, it was a little bit underwhelming, the top 3, based on what their potential or what their pictures were leading up to the show were. So if you go by Nick's, how Nick's never really out of shape. So he's consistent. I think he would have won.
I'm not sure. I think they were.
Yeah,
I mean sorry, I'm just not sure if they were absolutely off. I think they had different strengths. I mean, I believe that if there was no Hadi, you'd be like, Derek is unbelievable, but Hadi's grittiness is just exposed. Derek's softness from the front. And from the back, same thing. If Derek wasn't there, you would be Hadi all day. And because Derek is so good and he's so conditioned in his glutes and hamstrings area, that it's very reminiscent of Phillies, actually, by the way. I thought. Then that he wins that side. So and he exposes like what's a little softer on Hadi. But I thought they were picked pretty well.
Yeah, maybe not off, but just exposed. That's a better word.
Yeah, and Nick Walker, it's obviously super unfortunate that he was injured, and these are some recent, post-Olympia sort of physique updates. And you look at that side chest, and it's hard to imagine that would have been beaten on stage. So there's definite shots, and like he hangs in the back double bicep. Like I think even next to Derek, he would look really, really good. I don't think he'd beat Derek on the back double because I think that's just Derek's shot. But
you have
he's going close.
You have to see the size, Nick's size of his legs, his taper. He's probably got the same taper from the back as Derek almost,
His arms are ridiculous.
Yeah, so I'd have to see it.
I would have had him battling, no doubt, up in that top 3 for me, because I think it's easier to, I don't know what you guys think, but I think it's easier to match up a guy with guys that are a similar height and be able to compare them. And I think that his hardness with his added improvements from the Arnold, I think maybe would have put him ahead of Samson. Do all you guys agree he would have been ahead of Samson most likely? Obviously, we didn't get to see it, but do you think most likely he would have been?
I believe so.
Yeah, no, I agree also. Now let's move on to Big Ramy, who obviously decided to sit out this year's Olympia. And I thought he was actually pretty overlooked at the Arnold Classic earlier this year. He placed 4th, but he wasn't really compared to Samson, Andrew Jack, and the likes. So does anyone think Big Ramy with, improvements from this physique? Because honestly, I know some people will sort of like scoff at this, but I think the stem cells help Big Ramy because there's fullness in areas where it really lacked before. And you can say whatever about the quads, whether that's filled out with something else or not, but they were so much dramatically bigger when you look at the side-by-sides from the Olympia just, 4 or 5 months prior. Jimmy, where do you think Big Ramy would have landed if he just brought maybe a slight improvement on that Arnold Classic physique from earlier in the year?
He probably would have taken Derek's side, or Brandon's spot. So he would have come 5th, I think, just based on just the sheer size. He's still bodybuilding after all, and he's still coming in pretty hard.
Yeah, honestly, like I look at these comparisons, and obviously it's different lighting, and I think under the same lighting, Ramy looks just as conditioned, almost as Hardy there, which I don't think would be the case. But I think that he was super impressive at the Arnold. And Stan, were you at that Arnold Classic?
No, I was not, but I was also very impressed with Ramy. I agree with you.
Yeah. But the judges didn't seem to be, because I heard Steve Weinberger talk about it afterwards, and he said, I didn't really see any improvements or changes from Ramy to the Arnold Classic from the Olympia, which I was sort of shocked, and most people said that they did see improvements. Mick, where would you have had Big Ramy at this year's Olympia?
You mentioned that stem cell, and I was in Dubai about 3 weeks ago training at Binos's gym. I swear every second person I talked to was talking about stem cell. So it seems to be like the big thing at the moment that's helping people with rejuvenation and getting certain body parts back. Obviously, they can't do it there. They've got to go to another country. But, it was really interesting talking to them about how impressed they are with what it's doing for the body and stuff. Unfortunately, with our Australian dollar, I won't be getting it anytime soon. But I don't know, man, because you had so Brandon was in 4th, you had Andrew in 5th, and then you had Hunter in 6th. With those improvements he made, and let's say he kept making improvements onto the Olympia, I could definitely see him in around that 4th to 5th spot.
I think, honestly, like the way Ramy looked at that Arnold Classic, when you see him come out individually, I'll try to find the video on my computer now and quickly put it up. But the way he looked when he came out, it was wild. Like, he was pretty crazy impressive. I've got the iPhone footage, I think, courtesy of Chad Nichols, which I'll have a look for. But to me, I think Big Ramy, if he got a real look in with that top group, I honestly think he could have contended for the title if he made a little bit more improvements from this Arnold Classic, because I don't know. I just don't think Ramy got the credit he deserved for actually improving so much since the Olympia, perhaps. I don't know. Like, do any of you guys feel like that?
I agree with you. I honestly thought he looked great at the Arnold, and I forgot who got 4th at the Arnold. Did he get
Big Ramy got 4th, and then I think Clarita got 5th. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, Yeah, I think we just seen Ramy so much, and he wasn't like. But I thought that show was the best we've seen in a minute. So it's kind of funny, but yeah.
How come you think they're not comparing him then, Stan? Back into the top mix?
They didn't compare Ramy at the Arnold?
More like maybe giving him more of a shot at first or second, or you think he was a clear fourth?
No, I thought he could. Yeah, no, I mean that's the thing. I completely agree. I thought he got a little bit overlooked at the Arnold. I thought that was a really good package, and I was also surprised when I heard Steve Weinberger said he didn't see much improvement since the Olympia. I thought that was a very improved package, and he brought a very complete, muscular and defined, and it was a very impressive Ramy at the Arnold. I thought also so. Yeah. Yeah, I would like to see him more compared to that other top three. We had Samson, Andrew, and Nick. Definitely.
But like the only thing I noticed about Ramy that sort of was worse than maybe the Olympia, and I don't even think it was worse, just that like right quad. It looks like just around the knee. It's just, I don't know what's going on with the muscle, but it doesn't look the same. Obviously, the muscle isn't going to look as fresh as when he was like New York Pro winning Ramy. But that was the only thing I noticed, where the lines, especially on the legs, just don't look as clean and fresh. But there is a lot of hardness there. And the legs are, when you saw him stand next to everyone else, the legs were almost too big because it was just so, they looked almost like cartoonish when he stood next to everyone. But I agree. I think Big Ramy would have been in that top four at the Olympia had he been able to compete, as would Nick Walker definitely would have been, I think, as well, maybe even in that top three, most likely. But it's exciting for next year because we could see all these guys, Nick Walker, Big Ramy. We could see even more guys, pushing up into that top group as well. So I think the 2024 Olympia, because we had so many guys out, we had, like, when you actually see a list of the names and all the physiques, we had a lot of guys out of this Olympia. We had William Bonac, Sergio Oliva Jr., we had Nathan Diasha, Brett Wilkin, Baruz Tabani, Big Ramy, Nick Walker, like the list goes on. It's huge. So I think next year we're going to have a huge 2024 Mr. Olympia. But yeah, I suppose the outcome is that we would have had these guys right up there contending. And thank you guys once again for doing the first episode of What's the Word. If you did enjoy this episode, give the video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button, and follow all these guys on social media as well. The links are in the description below. So for myself, Xavier Wills, Jimmy Sadek, Michael Galley, and Stanimal Stan Delonge, we are out.